Cool. Okay, I'll just click.
Everybody was wonderful, donated their time, donated their equipment, donated their technical expertise, and we raised a substantial sum of money. And that was the seedling foundation for the recording studio at Central Piedmont, which is still going to this day. And, you know, it's again, just had so many plans and unfinished things that were cut so violently and so quickly short. So.
And anything else you'd like to tell me? How would you sum both John and George up as people? How would you say their music could be remembered?
Yeah, I hope their music will be remembered because very beautiful, very unique. They were good people. You know what you would call in New York. They would become real menches. And what is their legacy? You know, I guess their legacy is in the spirit of musical creativity and everyone they came in contact with. And I completely forgot about this, was that, you know, George had a spiritual side, and we didn't really talk about this too much. He wasn't conventional church going, but he had been to the Mayor Baba Spiritual Center in Myrtle Beach and was quite captivated by that, and the people there really liked him and John, and they were really looking forward to seeing him again. And Jane had a real artistic soul, and even in the brief period that she knew them, she was very drawn to them and felt very, very connected to them. And again, just so many of these unfinished partial conversations that are lingering with the incomplete threads that I wonder if they will ever be fully knitted together. You want to pause? Let me try and reflect. Yeah, but I think it's obviously the universe has not forgotten them, and felt that it was time for all of us to be reminded of what talented and delightful people they were. They were fun to hang out with, and George had a really offbeat sense of humor, as some of the drawings and cartoons I have of his, which I can't find, of course, indicate. And yeah, it just left such a void. And but hopefully this documentary and the reissue will go a long way to helping the world remember what two fabulous souls they were.
That's right. That's a nice way to end it. Anything else that you'd like to add?
I'm sure as soon as the interview is over, I am going to think of a gazillion things. Let's see, girlfriends, just driving around to see him playing the club gigs, the jazz things. He was really tight. When we were living in Stanleyville, George and John's trick was to always change apartments every few months to get that 1 month of free rent. Well, Lisa and my's trick was to move into houses that were about to be demolished to make way for the voracious appetite of Presbyterian Hospital. So you could get tremendously cheap rents for 7 or 8 months because the house was going to be torn down very soon. Well, anyway, next door to us lived Fungus Blues Band, Juicy Carter and Gene, I can't remember his last name, and jazz musicians. And George and John were very tight with them, and they did quite a bit of gigging with Fungus Blues Bands. And then one night somebody broke into their truck and stole all their equipment, which is really a shame. And so, yeah, again, they were just part. There was the scene. There was the Stanleyville scene. These wonderful musicians, Lee Griffin, like I said, Lenny Federal, the Barons of Barstow, and we just hang out at each other's houses and apartments, and now it's all become part of the Central Piedmont Hospital industrial complex. Gone, gone, as Thomas Wolfe, another North Carolinian, said, "Oh, lost and by the wind grieved ghost, come back again."
If you continued working with them, how would you have liked to have seen your role? What would you have liked to have developed with your working relationship with them?
Well, the thing was, I was really a promoter, which is totally, like I said, I'm mostly a writer. I like to be in a room by myself. And I would love to have continued in the ballad veins. You know, George really had a sense of that music that you want to hear at 2 a.m. in the morning when they're about to close down and the room is very smoky. Oh, well, that was quite a while ago. But just that sort of haunted anguish of 2 a.m. in the morning, and you have lost your love, or she misunderstands you, or you just desperately want to be reconnected and are not sure how. And I think he had a sense of that, and I would love to have continued writing in that vein. And also, as you know, he had very weird tunes, like a musical sense, very experimental. I mean, that thing called Under the Kiss of the Coiling Snake, where that came from, I haven't a clue, but love to explore more wild, weird stuff with him. And the other day I thought of a line for one of these Torchy ballads, that every blaze of love contains a bit of blue. And then I thought, wow, you know, when George and I collaborate and he writes the music, and then it hits you, you know, and so the song will probably just float in that inspirosphere of unrealized art. And George himself, you know, I think he really, even fusion jazz, I think he was beginning to find a limitation, and his artistic soul wanted to soar free beyond the limitations. I don't know what the limitations were they chromatic limitations? John too, again, I wish I knew him better, and I don't know enough about drumming to know, you know, maybe John would have wanted to go in the direction of polyrhythms or weird time signatures or stuff to really, you know, literally go where no musician has ever gone before. And I sensed that they were just on that, you know, just right on the edge of liftoff when the tragedy hit. So I don't know, you know, we have bits, fragments, pieces, and you know, you can sort of get an idea of the bracketing of his talents and an idea of where they were headed, but it's still, you know, they're on the edge of the springboard, and it's moving up and down. and they're sort of frozen in time forever.
To be rediscovered now by
To be rediscovered by the world. And maybe Trini Lopez, who I hope is still the second biggest draw in Las Vegas after Wayne Newton. And again, I should put a disclaimer. I'm a Southerner, I'll admit it. I embellish, I digress, I disremember. I improve on history if it makes a better story. That's my shortcoming. What can I say? I apologize to any I have impugned. So.
And that's great. That's it.
Okay, I hope you got a few minutes you can use.
Absolutely, there's plenty in there. That's right.
Good.
I'm going to